Whoa. Hey, we're live. We're going early. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, due to the inclement Chicago Bears playoff game in the divisional round, the live stream begins right now. So thanks for making special accommodations for this guy right here, because my family wants to watch the game and I want to give you my full and undivided attention for an hour to hear what you're buying, to look up ideas you have. Fun story. We're cleaning out some things. My wife was mostly going through old, I don't know, cards, papers. You know, you get those papers, things you just shove somewhere and you just, we'll take care of them eventually. And years go by. So, screw the Rams. Okay. But if the Bears lose, I'll be pulling for the Rams because I want to see them get beat by the best. So, funny thing, we were going through the papers. We came across a card that my daughter got from her great-grandparents, right? My wife's grandparents, from Valentine's Day 2008. And what was in there? Bam, a $2 bill. It's $2. Our net worth went up $2 whole, just like that. It pays, people. It pays to go through those old papers. The recycling bill is full. We got a whole bunch of stuff out of the way. That looks good there. All right. And we're lighter, $2 richer. That's what I said. I'm like, dude, net worth shot up $2, 8 quarters, right? So let's see what's up with you guys. So tell what you're buying. I don't know if you got the new newsletter that I put out there. If you saw the chat with Craig, SCHD Stan, I did end up, I sold off a little bit of SCHY. Why? Well, I wanted some higher income producing foreign assets. Foreign for me, I'm in the United States. And I did that with ticker IDVO. It's the, how does it go? The Amplify CWP International Enhanced Dividend ETF, something like that. It's Kevin Johnson. If you guys are familiar with DIVO, he wrote, or Kevin Simpson. Yeah, Kevin Simpson. He wrote a great book called Walk Toward Wealth. And it is, I like how he runs his funds. He wants to own the stocks. He doesn't sell derivatives. Well, I guess an option, a covered call is a derivative. It's derivative of the price inherent in its nature. But the derivatives, he's not selling futures contracts, anything like that. So if he doesn't sell a call option, we, through the fund, are still owning those stocks. The underlying is owned by the fund. And it's just great because then the dividends will come in, and I would never have anything selling covered calls be a major part of the portfolio, but I do like that they own, and we could look them up on Seeking Alpha to see their top positions right now, if that's something you guys would like to do. But yeah, Martin Luther King Day here in the United States tomorrow, so we won't have that. But oh yeah, Chris, or Steve, you thought messed up again. Last week I screwed up the time on the live stream. So yeah, but let us know. I know it's a weird time. Might not be a lot of people popping on. And let's look at that. We were talking about DIVO. No, we were talking about IDVO. And I'll show you guys exactly what he is owning in it and what I like for IDVO. I'm going to try something new here. There's this thing on Mac where you can do split screen. So I'm going to split my view with StreamYard. So now I get your comments there. Beautiful. All right. Chris, I'm glad you like this time better. And I would like to, but usually in the summer, and maybe as my kids are a little bit older, it's just weekends are really busy for us. And almost always we were home by Sunday night. What's up, Doc? ¿Qué pasó, mijo? So you got, oh, what did I do? Hold on. You guys can see the split screen here. That's not working right. Well, I guess that might not work. Yeah, I might have to sharing Seeking Alpha. Well, hear me. I was going to try and be all slick about. Oh, no, you guys can see that. Yeah, what am I saying? You don't see my split view, but I do want to do this. There you go. That's a little better, right? Anyway, so we're going to look up IDVO. I keep saying it. IDVO. It looks a little small, though. I wonder. I did this split screen. Everything looks fine, Vasco. Thank you. I really do appreciate it when you guys say, hey, it looks good, because the little preview window I'm seeing, I know this won't mean nothing to a lot of you guys, but it looks a little small to me. So here we have IDVO. And yeah, the one thing is that it has a 0.66% expense ratio, little bit higher, but when things are actively managed, you have to pay the people that are doing the active managing and hopefully continuing to grow the fund and give you that 5.3% yield, 5.03, excuse me. So it's okay. It'll work out in the end as long as it's, well, I stand corrected, because if you look at a lot of the yield max funds like MSTY, ULTY, those have 9.95%, 1% expense ratio, which is really high. And the fund just keeps losing on a total return basis, keeps going down, but on a total return basis, because I like the way Kevin Simpson runs his funds, it keeps going up. So we were just talking about how with this covered call international covered call fund, they own the underlying. And yeah, and look at the quant, right? This is Seeking Alpha, what we're looking at here. The quant gives IDVO a number 1 out of 116 for the subclass. So it's really well done. And you're getting this one, I think, what you pay for with quality. But price returns, 36% in a year compared to 17%. So anyways, the point I was making is that I am going to be getting income from these and others. There are 76 total holdings, but there you go. Alibaba, TSMC, Novartis. Some of these I'm not familiar with, but that's what he's supposed to be for. That's what I'm paying amplify the 0.66% expense ratio for, right? So there you go. AstraZeneca, Mitsubishi, Siemens, ASML, Southern Copper Corp. Hey, but yeah, what's up, Craig? There he is. The man. I don't want to say. Everyone says that. The man, the myth, the legend. You watching any football yet, buddy? Poor Craig with his Eagles. And then here, I'll do DIVO because that's the one I had owned once upon a time and I sold, and I should have held it. But DIVO is it's the reverse of IDVO. And yeah, that one's done well. Not as well as the international, though. A little bit lower expense ratio, but I just want to get to the top 10. There we go. For DIVO, he's holding currently Caterpillar, Raytheon, RTX Corp, I should say, right? And yeah, Microsoft, Home Depot, Apple, a lot of the TJX companies. So again, I like what he does, that they get to, yeah, Jack, we can look that up. I'd love it. So I think I have not looked at MTN, Adam. Actually, I think I have. We did look it up, but well, Craig, you got a little, what was that, Jack? ACM. Never looked at ACM either. All right, let me stop sharing this. And all right, I'm just so freaked out about the split view. I don't want to. I don't know how I get off this split. Come on, buddy. Where does this? Why is it not splitting? There we go. Separate views. All right, there we go. I'm so paranoid. I'm going to close the window, but let's see. Adam says he had a call exercise on Friday that he's looking to move into a dividend stock, considering Hess Midstream, that's ticker HESM, as well as a few others. Anyone have anything they think is out of favor and undervalued? Have you looked at Portillo's? It's actually coming up late. As of late, it's up a good amount this past week and a half. Don't know why. Could be some short covering, but do you know what? I might have missed that. Star. Let's look up PayPal. I will say I do use PayPal, but have you guys used PayPal? In the newsletter, I shared Tony Robbins was on diary. I can't say some words you can't say. I shared Tony Robbins, who was on Diary of a CEO podcast with Stephen Bartlett. And one of the things he said in the United States that people seem to miss is everybody wants to be a consumer and not that many people want to be owners. So he shared a really cool example that if you use a product and you use it regularly and lots of other people are using the product, why not own the company? So, and I'll just ballpark the figures, but he said they did an exercise where they figured out, going back to iPhone 1, if you were to buy the iPhone every time it came out, every single, well, almost year, but every iPhone, it would have cost you about $22,000. But if you would have put that equivalent money into Apple stock, now he didn't say if this was total return or what, but if you would have put that money into Apple stock today, that would have been about $322,000, I think, or 326, something like that. So you would have had about $300,000 more than what you use to buy the phones. And obviously you'd have these old phones. So doesn't work for everything. You can't just say, hey, I use Blockbuster Video. I'm going to go buy Blockbuster Video and Toys R Us stock and never forget about it again. I think I said that wrong. And never think about it again. That's what I meant. That's some Inception stuff. Never think about it again. Come on. Eddie, yes, I did. I shared on social few places. I said, due to the inclement and impending Chicago Bears divisional playoff game, we will. Oh, where are you at, Adam? I don't remember. Yep, we're live, Kevin. Okay, so we're going to look at, let's do, for the 40 of you that have popped on already, let's do news first. And then I'll look at a couple of those you guys were questioning. I thought questioning had a G on the end. Apparently, nowadays it's just questioning. That's lazy speak. Where were we? Here we go. This is where we left off last week. For those of you that didn't see, two of them stale news from last week. This is Simply Safe Dividends, which, by the way, I'm not an affiliate, but if you have an email address, you can use Simply Safe Dividends free for 2 weeks. No credit card needed or anything. So just get yourself 30 some odd email addresses you can burn through and you can keep using it all year long. But yeah, they downgraded Nike to the lower end of the safe bucket. And another commodity chemical company, we talked about this, like they're facing it. And it's one of the problems when companies like this, I think they call them price takers, because LyondellBasell, I used to invest in them. And this is one of the reasons I sold, is because that management doesn't have control over the fluctuations in the commodity price, right? Supply and demand will dictate that. But they dealt with things like polyolefins that are chemicals that go into the making of plastics. For example, plastic bags. And when a company has to be a price taker like that, the thing that really trips them up is, do you think the customers that are buying the plastic bags in bulk really care about the chemicals that go into make the plastic bags, or people, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like somebody's going to be beholden to LyondellBasell's polyolefins over Dow Chemicals polyolefins or Olin's polyolefins, if they do make those. But anyway, that's a long-winded explanation of why I got out of Celanese and LyondellBasell, two commodity chemical companies. And it was kind of fortuitous, because I made a small profit on both, lost no money. And ever since they've had these headwinds facing them, all the commodity chemical companies have just been facing it. So there's a lot to get to. Let's burn through these quick as always. You can screenshot the screen, screenshot the screen, right? Take a screenshot. Sorry if I yelled and blew out your ears. I got tinnitus, so I get a pass. But Alliant Electric Utility, LNT, raised the dividend 5.4%. They downgraded Insperity to 50 borderline safe. And yeah, human resource companies, Robert Half is one that's been having issues. Merck, company's history dates back 350 years. They refreshed their outlook. Remember, an outlook is just Simply Safe Dividends' own opinion. It's just the Brian Bollinger and his crew there. They give outlooks and they have nice write-ups. So that from time to time, they'll refresh on a company because, hey, things are always changing in business, right? S&P Global. Adam, I don't think you own S&P Global, ticker SPGI. Token dividend raise of 1%. They're just going to keep that dividend king crown. TELUS got a dividend downgrade. I think some of you in Canada, north of the border, are owning TELUS, but they got downgraded because their deleveraging needs rise and competition intensifies. I was reading them like, wait, that rhymes. Goldman Sachs, couple-digit dividend raises coming here, 13%, which they also raised 33% in July. So how about that? And BlackRock, ticker BLK, 10% dividend raise. They refresh an outlook on Archer Daniels, which, hey, that's come back a little bit. I think Kevin might have been buying ADM. I don't remember who was buying that, but Fastenal, great company. Craig, I saw you post about that, 9% dividend raise. And these are all the companies that I understand well that are in my wheelhouse, never seem to come down. And lastly, dividend downgrade. Interestingly, for Genuine Parts, ticker GPC, has anybody of you out there watching done anything with Genuine Parts? I owned them several years ago. It was a small position. It had kept going up. And yeah, I sold, I believe, in the 160s, 170s, something like that. So that was a good move. And then we will get back, but really quickly, just Adam, for you, MTN. I don't know if, Vail Resorts. I don't know much about this. I do know about Vail, Adam. What was the yield again? 6.3%. I would probably rather just try and get that. So let's see why they are real quick here. Frozen dividend. That's a red flag. Stock has been selling off. Yeah, that yield is almost twice what it normally is. I mean, you always need to know the story. The free cash, all the payout ratios are way over 100%, but it looks like they have been there before. So, Adam, I don't really know enough about leisure. I mean, the margins they look all right from what I can tell. My amateur opinion, I should have said none of this is financial advice. Debt has been going way the heck up. Holy cow. Yeah, and their interest coverage has been dropping. Anybody that's brand new and you don't know, get it out of the way. Interest coverage ratio tells you how many dollars of operating income, also known as EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes. How many dollars of operating income does a company have to cover every $1 of interest on the debt? Why is that important? You have to legally pay the interest on the debt. I don't care what kind of dividend you have. If a company can't pay the interest on the debt, they're in really bad shape, and that dividend is going to get cut or go away. So that's been lowering, and we don't like to see that. So for me, I would pass on it, but I don't know the story with what's going on there. ACOM, little itty bitty dividend. No, not so itty, 1.26%. What do they do? 1980, and they do advisory, planning, consulting, construction and program management services, design. So they just, that's interesting. So it doesn't sound like, so they're just a contractor that does consulting. You got to worry about that. I mean, Let's see what this thought. Yeah, very fast dividend growth. You would have to wonder if this is a company that could be disrupted by AI. But yeah, free cash flow payout ratio is low. All this is, they just looks to me like they just started paying a dividend a couple years ago. Yeah. But free cash flow per share flattened and it's dropping. And sales, see, I don't like that. Sales were probably near an all-time high in 2017. They dropped and now they're flat. So yeah, they buy back shares. I don't know, man. Is there a specific thing about ACOM that you like? Is there any catalyst? Because yeah, debt's low. I mean, it just looks okay. I don't know, just kind of a meh. And what about PayPal? All right, last one, then I'll get back to you guys in the chat. PayPal. Do you use PayPal? I think I asked. I use PayPal still, right? I send money. I use PayPal. I know this. Oh, haven't they had this issue for a while now? And it's spanned a couple CEOs, I believe. So somebody correct me on that. Haven't they had a couple CEOs and they've been having issues for a while? And I think Elon, right? Elon started PayPal, wasn't he? You're right. There it is. They just started paying a dividend. Yeah, so they can easily cover that with their free cash flow. And anybody new watching, I like looking at free cash flow over earnings payout ratio because earnings is an accounting number. It can be easily financially manipulated, but with the free cash flow, it's much harder to do. People risk going to jail. And with free cash flow, that's what the dividend comes from. You get free cash flow, you can pay the dividend, buy back shares, carry that as cash on the balance sheet, buy mergers, acquisitions, reinvest back into the business. It's just lifeblood of the business. So, but with PayPal, let's see, their sales growth has been dropping. But look, their sales keep going up. So they're profitable. They're buying back shares. I think everybody's worried about the future. It has to be. That are they going to be disrupted? Very low net, basically no debt. It's super low. Yeah, out of all the three we just looked at, I like PayPal the best. And well, that's one that I'm going to put a check mark by because I may have to look into that one a little more. So you guys tell us, hey, Craig, I'll drink to that. We will see. It's super duper cold here. I think it's like single digit. I think we heard the wind chill. The real feel is going to at times be about 2 degrees or 0 tonight. So, hey, could fare well for a dome team from California. California. Jay, what do you want to look at? We'll come back in a minute here. I'm going to say rap at y'all, you people. BAP. What's that? A Brookfield. That's a Brookfield jam, right? And Ferg. You pulling my leg here. Fergalicious and BAP. Kevin, should you sell your SCHD to buy silver? Interesting question, man. I'm not going to give advice, but I wouldn't because, and here, now this is interesting, Kevin, and it shows you how nobody knows the future, but the more I studied Warren Buffett, the more he would say that with precious metals like gold and silver, dude, there's no intrinsic value, no inherent intrinsic value to it because there's no cash flow to it. It does nothing. If you have an ounce of gold and you put it in a box, it's still going to be an ounce of gold 100 years from now, 50 years from now. But if you have, say, a stock certificate, companies can go bust, of course, but if you put that stock certificate in a box, well, companies can grow and expand and they can generate more and more and more cash. But your metals don't do that. You have to store it. So, I was like 2 years early before the rocket ship, but I sold all our 98% of our precious metals. And yeah, where silver's going to end, I don't know, dude, but here, let's look at that silver chart real quick. because that's pretty freaking. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty cray cray. Yeah, we'll go to a fun place. Let me get this set up. I used to buy my metals from this company. Oh, I made some bad mistakes. Oh, did I make bad mistakes? Do you guys remember Peter Schiff? Is he still around? If Peter Schiff, they call him Dr. Doom. Hold on, I know I made myself small prematurely. But Peter Schiff, he had me convinced. I used to listen to his podcast that, here we go, that the market this was coming right out of the the GFC. Granted, I wasn't investing like I am now, paying attention to it like I am now, but here we are on apmex.com. And where's the chart? There's a chart that you'll show, but I used to buy from here. Anyway, long story short, I took about $6,000-$7,000 out of my 401k because I thought this guy must know what he's talking about. Yeah, gold has been around for thousands of years, but the market hasn't. And dude, it almost crumbled. So he said that he's a gold bug, right? This is what you got to buy. So I did that. And as I bought that gold and silver and platinum, precious metals, and hung on to it, the market kept going up and up and up and up and up. And the metals all stayed flat. And then they started going up right when I sold. And then they just rocket shipped. So I held all that time, probably a good 8 years, 9 years. So what is that? Is that a Lord of the Rings? Oh, Legends of Olympus, Hades. Yeah, they do all fun kind of stuff with this, but yeah. So here's the silver spot price, and it's kind of cool because the precious metal market is always open. And goodness gracious, this is a week, like up 10% in a week. 1 year, it's just nuts. Silver's up 212% in a year. And then 5 years, let me see if I can zoom in. So yeah, there we go. Here, what if I do all? So here's what this guy did. This is silver, by the way. Yours truly got into silver around, oh, yeah, it was probably around 2014-ish. Somewhere around here. It was around $20, right? And then I held through all this flat. And then I sold in, where did I sell? I think it was January of 22. I sold right around what I bought it for. Let's see, January of 22. Yeah, so I made a little bit from it. It's just, oh my God. I had, I don't know, maybe 60 ounces of it. And yeah, it's a little sickening to see where it went. But hey, that's the way it goes. But anyway, Kev, what I'm saying is, if look at that spike up. I mean, that is just, this chart goes all the way back to 1996. So either the end of the world's coming, the end of the financial world, or yeah. So I would say no, but it all depends on your risk tolerance. What are you buying it for? What are you holding SCHD for? Yeah. Wait, if the Bears are you losing home field referees, they got a great chance. Just ask the, hey, well, we'll see, man. Oil is a better value than silver currently. That could be. And again, does silver go from 90 to 200? It could. I don't know, but I doubt it. Yeah, I wonder why the S&P Global raise was only 1%, Dresh. I saw that too, and I thought that's a little low. I wonder why. There has to be a reason. Oh, Jack, you're a Canadian. Yeah, hey there. No, that's what they say in Wisconsin. Good old Wisconsin. Tell us is a gong show. Buying them over Canadian banks or materials is a big mistake. Hey, you know what else was a big mistake? The list of many. Like when you see the Santa reading that list of names and he unfurls the banner. That's kind of my list of mistakes. if you guys remember when it was over, I think it was fall of 24 when TD got in trouble, Toronto Dominion Bank, ticker TD, for the money laundering scandal. And it looked like they were going to indefinitely be barred from operating in the United States or opening up new operations. That's what it was. And it just looked bad for me. I thought, wow, I don't want to be involved. So I sold the company for literally break even. And then I think it went up like another, I don't know, $20 a share. What is it at? I sold it in around 62 or 3. And TD is at, $93. I only had like 157 shares, but Trevon, you're owning GPC. Yeah, I wonder why. Again, I haven't dug deep into that one. You are welcome, Adam. Who are we talking about? You're talking about the commodity companies, right? Well, good question you asked. How many non-dividend stocks do you have? Will you not buy a stock because it doesn't pay a dividend? Well, it's funny you should ask. Eddie, let's go on over and look at my portfolio on the good old Simply Safe, because it'll be easier. It's a bit of a, you know what? Actually, let me see if I could pull it up. This might be a little easier view for you. I just updated it today. Let me get this going. So this is our, here we go. Our investment portfolio. This is everything. And I had to make it a little smaller, but it is so out of all this, it's sorted by percent of the total. And this is just my and my wife's portfolio, what we have on together, but doesn't pay a dividend. Let's see. We've got, I'm looking, Harrow Incorporated right here. So Harrow Incorporated at number 13. It's 1.71% of the portfolio. Oh, I need to shift myself over. How am I going to do? I'll hide myself for a minute. There we go. So yeah, Harrow Incorporated is 1.71% of the portfolio. And that's one of them. We have Kinsale's a microscopic dividend, but it counts. Portillo's, that's 2. And then we have way down here is Uber. That is 3. So I guess I have 3. And no, I would consider it. And that's something that, hold on, I'm here. There we are. I would absolutely consider it. And that's one of the mistakes I've made in the past is avoiding companies because they didn't pay a dividend. One of them was Google. For years, I avoided it, even though I used the product. I remember looking at it, especially I did a video with Citizen of the Year with Cody. So shout out Cody. And one of his companies was Google. And they didn't pay dividend. I remember thinking like, they don't pay a dividend. Screw that. It was $81 a share. What are we at now? 320s, 330s? Ugh. So to answer your question, Eddie, that used to be the case and that was dumb. So as the PayPal mafia. Nice. You hear ADM and you pay attention. Maybe we'll look at that in a minute, see what's going on there. Has all the things been cleaned up with their, well, I don't know. Was it fraud? Didn't their CFO step down because of allegations or whatever it was? Well, I just looked up this Texans Patriots game got interesting, huh? Hey, Lisa, still coming off that birthday celebration, huh? Ain't the silver they trade just paper? Good point. I believe it is. And that's the thing with, it depends on how you're buying the silver. So, like I said, when I was buying it, I was having it shipped to my house. I was storing it in the house. And yes, I wish to God I had the gift of clairvoyance because hell, I would have loved to have held it. But what are you going to do? I lost no money. People like Warren Buffett were not wrong. I always said that with look, if you own gold and silver and platinum and palladium and you own it in your house, it's not going to produce anything. It doesn't, every quarter, it doesn't fart out little pieces of gold or silver dust that you can scoop up and melt and create more ingots or little grains of gold, right? I even bought gold grains. That was ridiculous. It was these little dollops of gold that you could buy. And yeah, what are you going to do? For the mother of Lord, can I have a crystal ball for Adobe? Use the product for 12 years. Ooh, that's a good one because yeah, I would think AI could disrupt that, and I don't know if it would be for the better. Hat. I know. Thanks, Eddie. That's people might be eating, so yeah, hatch or spit out or yes, but uh for Adobe, one of the ones I was looking at was Shutterstock Images. I think that's a company, and that was I remember Ryan Williams talking about Shutterstock before AI really came out, and um. So anyway, what I was saying about I got loud there. Sorry about that. I guess my wife will say sometimes I'm a loud talker. Hey, there's a Wingstop commercial. Ticker WING. We house sat yesterday, dog sat for my mother and father-in-law out of town, and we got Wingstop. It was pretty good. And this is something I liked. I downloaded the app. On the app, they had deals. It was like 20 boneless wings, 2 ranches, a side. It was $17.99. 4 different sauces. We did everything right from the app. Did pick up because I am way too frugal to do something like Uber Eats. Never have, never will. That while I have control over it. But yeah, I told my wife we were driving to get it. I said, Wingstop is publicly traded. We had Wingstop. The kids had Panera. It's so funny. We rarely eat out, but anyway, long story short, we ate out and or picked up and ate in, and it's so hard for me to spend money on food like that. But again, you know what? We enjoyed it. We ate together and nobody had to cook. So it was a nice little thing. But I think what I was saying about Warren, Fishy Man, to build on your point, like still doing all right. I wanted to have more cash producing assets. And, over long periods of time, the market has crushed gold and silver, all the precious metals. It's just really, really recently. So even if we zoom out and do what's a good proxy for that? GLD, right? Let's do it. If you've read Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke, and you'd be a jagged if you did this all the time, but our brains can trick us into thinking or misremembering or being confident about something like, right? Isn't it Mark Twain and Howard Marks loves this quote is where Mark Twain said something to the effect of, it ain't what you know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And to build on that, Annie Duke would say, anytime someone makes a statement, just say, want to bet on it or want to bet? So, if I would say that, hey, over a long period of time that the S&P 500 has crushed gold or silver, and you say, want to bet? Made me think like, oh, has it? So let's do real quick, double check the veracity of my statement. How is that for a $10 word? When's the last time you heard somebody use veracity? If I keep going down that road, I'm going to sound grandiloquent for cry. By the way, you're about to learn something new, so open up your ear holes and get ready. But grandiloquent, GRANDILOQUENT, grandiloquent means somebody using big, fancy, uncommon words that not a lot of people know, just to sound smart, and knowing that people don't know what that word means. So you will think you're sounding smart, but you come off kind of like a jag. So, and I just realized then using the word grandiloquent is almost in and of itself being grandiloquent. So how's that for irony? All right. All right. So let's just double check, fact check myself. So we'll do this fun thing here on Seeking Alpha. Let's plug in VOO, which is the S&P 500. And you go to charting. We'll do a total return. Performance, total return. Bam. And then we will select, get rid of SP 500. We'll use VOO. Let's do, I think it's GLD, right? That's the gold shares ETF. And I think SLV is the other one, right? SLV. iShares Silver Trust. I don't know if this is the exact proxy for silver, but we'll just say it is. So here's a total return. Well, yeah, over the past 1 year. And let me make sure you're all seeing this. Okay, good. Because sometimes you know how it goes. You don't have to be lonely. If we could only go back in time and invest in farmersonly.com, huh? We would all be doing exactly what we're doing right now. Is Farmers Only still even in business? Oh, what a touchdown by, who's that? Keishan Butte. Woo! Anyway, I'm a junkie. I'm a football junkie. Anyway, let's do here it's 10 years. Well, look at that. Over 10 years, silver is still crushing, but silver could fall as fast. But what if we do max? So max isn't a true comparison because we don't have a date for VOO. Oh, what's SPY? Let's do SPY because SPY will go back much further. Yeah, here we go. Select symbols. That's right. VOO didn't come about till 2010, but I think SPY goes back to the 90s. So that'll be a better proxy. Update that. Yeah, I'd have to do a chart here. I want to be accurate. 5/1/2006, it looks like, is the earliest we have for silver. So we'll just chart it. 5/1/2006, because I want to see if I'm being accurate here. 5/1/2006 to, I better have an answer when I come back over there to see if Farmers Only, have you ever used farmersonly.com? Okay, so now going back to 2006, so 20 years. Check it out. Even with this massive run up in gold and silver, the S&P 500 on a total return basis has a 653% total return, silver 479 and gold 520. So even with all that, I still right, but hey, look at that. Actually, I got all these words on here. You'll have to look around 2011 there where gold and silver, that was the GFC, right? Coming out of it. Yeah, gold and silver really destroyed, but then, so it's not terrible, and it might continue to be doing all right, but yeah. The moat for PayPal, says Star Helix, is the uncertainty. They're investing lots in AI, enabling AI agents to make autonomous purchases on behalf of the user. Companies involved. Maybe a plus for business-to-business users. And again, I would buy that. I think you're probably right, but that may not be what happens. So, that's kind of what we have to do as investors. You have to make a decision. If you're going to invest in individual companies, everybody has to make a decision what they think the future direction of the company is. A lot of times it's wrong. A lot of times it's right. A lot of times it's much better than we expected. So how's that Morgan Housel quote go? Something about the past wasn't as good as we thought. The future is, I don't remember. Anyway, the past is not as good as we thought, and the future is going to be better than we think. And I completely mucked up the middle part there. So way to butcher a quote. Bose uses Visa almost daily, as do I, all the time. I guess every time then too, because we have our credit card plugged into Amazon. So every time we buy from Amazon, that's Visa, right? Visa's getting a little cut. Rich buys gold and silver from Costco. I wonder how their prices are. I haven't bought gold and silver in obviously many, many years. So that was the place I was buying it from, was AppMex. I was too scared to buy off of eBay because I didn't want to get screwed, right? So I at least wanted to buy from a reputable company that is not going to screw people, I would think. Jeff Passan for MLB can be grandiloquent at times. I don't know who that is, Duffy. Not a baseball guy. And Jay, no, farmers only. I'm gonna get an answer for myself here, because inquiring minds want to know. We want to know, is farmers only, is it still a thing? Is it still around? Yep, farmers only is still active. It's a niche dating site for farmers, ranchers. Now, how about this? How about who owns farmersonly.com? Survey says, it's owned by its founder, Jerry Miller, who created it in 2005. So it is privately held, just like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is probably privately held. No, they are privately held, and they're closed on Sundays, and that means they're closed to you investing in them. Eddie wanted to know how I find new stocks to invest in. Word of mouth, YouTube articles, yes, and more. Anywhere, everywhere. I love the live streams. I love talking to everyone in the community, comments. It's funny because they say that one of the quickest ways to get the right answer is to put wrong information out on the internet, because people love to correct wrong information on the internet. So that's some of the ways is that too. I don't know what that means, Star, with the America being defined in 2 words, but quote Billy Joel, the good old days weren't always good, and tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems. I think that's what it was. That was the quote. That's what I missed. So I think Morgan Housel, if that's true, and Billy Joel said it before, he said the past isn't as bad as you good God. Okay, take 3. The past isn't as good as you remember. The present isn't as bad as you think, and the future is going to be much better than you think. Something like that. Yeah, again, just this YouTube, talking with people. Here, I'll show you one way, actually. There was a lot of Biden gaffes that I remember, or I remember him making a lot of gaffes. Anyway, here's a way that I find stocks, and I think anyone can. I don't know. I don't want to switch over to incognito mode, so it doesn't have my login information, but if you go to seekingalpha.com, sorry, it's the like farmers only tab up there. Why are we talking about farmers only? I don't know. So if you go to home on Seeking Alpha, this front page, they have, what is that? The 20 stocks hedge funds are most overweight, and then the 20 stocks hedge funds are most underweight. Stuff like that right there. Here you go. So these are 20 stocks. So overweight means that they're buying them. BF Bank of America screens for the 20 stocks that hedge funds like the most, and that is the most net relative weight by hedge funds. So Insight, Centene, Invesco, News Corp, NWSA, don't know what they do. Mohawk, I knew they do flooring, right? Match Group, talk about farmers only, right? PG&E, Solventum, SanDisk, Southwest Airlines. So you just see if anything catches your eye and start looking into those like that. But then the most underweight. So this is ones here, 20 stocks that hedge funds avoid, right? Brown Forman, alcohol, Super Micro, Charter Communications. And I'm sure somebody can pause this. But yeah, just like that. There we go. Speak of the devil, Lyondell Basel. We were just talking about them. T. Rowe Price, Coinbase, interestingly enough, Trade Desk. Is anybody buying Bitcoin? I actually had a wild thought this week that what if I put $5 a week into Bitcoin for the next who knows how long, right? What's $5? I don't really go out and buy coffee. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin in 10 years was at $1 million or it was at zero. But I think I would be more surprised if it was at zero. So that was a thought I had, just something automatic, something so small that weekly I won't even notice it, but over time it might add up. It was just a thought, but I do this. I come to Seeking Alpha, see the trending analysis, if anything catches your eye, right? And then they have this dividend growth ideas. I love Seeking Alpha. I mean, it is great. A lot of people writing on it. So there you go. You can screenshot that if you want for some ideas to look in. Now, if you click on a lot of these articles, it's going to be paid, but some analysis. I know this is going to turn into a little bit of a, but if you go to, and I don't know if you can see this if you're just have an account, but if you have Stock Screener right there on the left, they have like this top quant dividend stocks. So for all of you watching, and yeah, there's a lot here, high yield dividend stocks, and it'll say stocks yielding above 6% with a quant rating of strong buy or buy. Trending AI stocks. This is a way that you can, a lot of ideas, and they won't all work out great, but top healthcare, and then they have all the sectors, top stocks under $10. I like this one, top stocks that are strong buy with short squeeze potential. But if we look at here, top quant dividend stocks, there's 14. We're talking about mining. I guess I'll show all these real quick. So if anybody wants to pause the video, you got yourself some ideas here. But Newmont, there you go. Merck. One of you is just buying Merck. Lincoln National. Anything stand out? Agree Realty. There we go. I bought another share this week. And yeah, so just like that, just bop around, You can find ideas, man. Jay would love to buy Chick-fil-A. Thanks for the correction. What did I correct you on? I don't even remember, dude. Yeah, look at stocks are most active. Eddie, that's great. Run with it, man. Run with it. Investorsonly.com. Hey, that honestly though, that's funny because there's a lot of people that are with someone that doesn't invest, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal because my wife really doesn't care about investing, but we seem to be getting along fine. So with all the geopolitical uncertainty of the last few months and days, which is becoming increasingly heated, are you increasing the amount of uninvested money you have? Nope. Doing the same old thing because don't know where it's going to go. No clue. Tony Robbins, I love it. He reiterated something I'm very fond of saying, but in the interview he did on Diary of his, that came out wrong. In the interview that he did with Diary of a CEO, he said, you have to know history. And when you see people think the politics today, and I'll hear people say, it's never been this bad. That's wrong. It's been really wrong. Anybody remember Aaron Burr? Yeah. Things got heated back then. They used to solve disagreements with duels. And they also, I don't know where we're going with this, but it comes in cycles. Politics has always been really nasty. And I don't care what anyone says. Some of the things that I think Jefferson and Adams used to say to each other, they were just, they did not like each other. It was bad. Alan holds some Bitcoin. Yeah, and I don't know, it was a weird thought I had, and then I thought, like, but I could invest that $5 into but I guess it's diversifying, and I don't know. It's just a thought I had because really $5 because I don't know where it's going to go. And it would literally just be a weekly buy, just $5, just Bitcoin every $5 a week. And I would probably forget about it for months and then just be like, oh yeah, look at that. That's not true. If I invest, I pay do you like do that too? Do you pay too much attention where you can't just at least I do. I don't forget about anything. Dude, there's people I work with. I kid you not, they'll ask, "Hey, that money thing that work puts into, do you know where that is or how to look at that?" And I'm like, "The 401k? Yeah, is that what it's called?" I'm like you got to pay like a little bit more attention than that. So, which is funny, right? Because I'll be like, "Oh my god," I'm like, "These I like these two ETFs. One's a 0.08% expense ratio, one's a 0.05." I'm like, "Oh, what do I do? Like this is gonna," and other people are like 462. No, it's got it's got numbers and letters. Like, what is that thing? So, which is good. Why I love this community. I love being around all of you because we get to help make each other smarter. We pull each other up by sharing information. Ah, BTCI. Is that the Neos? That's the high income. Yeah, I don't want to yeah, high income, 34% yield. That's not really I know it's got that. Yeah, I would rather just and what do you think about that? Would you rather hold something like Bitcoin at Coinbase or buy an ETF? Or I know some people are doomers and they hold it in a cold wallet, right? Just you got your little here, that's something like this. This is where I'd be like, I got all this Bitcoin. It's right here. You know, like look at all this Bitcoin. It's like, what are you gonna do with that? On a little cold wallet, they call it. Yeah. You'd star land. That's Gladstone, right? The multiple preferred stocks on top of the common make me jittery. Or is it? Let me just see. Wasn't Gladstone land? Yeah, Gladstone land. I did a video on them once. Specialized REIT does farming. Yeah. Yeah. High quality farms. It's so weird that, and I don't have time to show it, but it appears speculative, which is strange to me because you would think we're going to need farms. Even if the robots start doing everything, we still need farms. So $5 in Bitcoin or Palantir. Yeah, that's a interesting one, man. I don't know. I guess maybe Bitcoin because I'm kind of wanting something that is uncorrelated or should be uncorrelated. And that's another thought, right? Ray Dalio. If you're properly diversified, you have whatever he says, like 10 or 12 assets that have no correlation to each other, which sounds easy. But yeah, even if it gets to be a few $1,000, you know what? It would be such a small part. And I know people have said to do 1% of your net worth. Well, maybe. I don't know. For me, that would be like what? Shoot, a little over $10,000. That sounds like high to me, but maybe I'll start doing that. I don't know. It's a small $5 a week. Come on, that's nothing. Bitcoin could be seven figures, and it could. Duffy, no idea. I'm still buying. Rich, I did. I actually sold a little SCHY. It's still good, and I'll probably buy more. I'd love to get it on a pullback, but I wanted to start a position into DIVO and into DGRO as well, which is dividend growth, just because that has a little more tech. So I'd like a little higher dividends with some tech exposure. So that's why I did that. But yeah, and that's what I always thought. Like, imagine like if you had like $2 million in Bitcoin on this, like that's crazy. That's crazy to me. You'd be like that guy that threw it in the garbage and has been trying to look in the landfill where he lost it. But oof, wiped out, can't be tracked. Yeah, and that's one of the worries, Fishy. I mean, Coinbase, I think, is at least a little more reputable. It's a little more established, but what could it be hacked and all stolen? I don't know. I don't know. It could, which is which is why. But Adam, buy Pokemon cards, dude. Come on. I was in the Navy when those things came out, and I remember telling people like this is the dumbest thing ever. I remember being in line at like, I don't know, the grocery store and seeing those first series of Pokemon cards and thinking like, this is stupid. This is so dumb. And then here's me all these years later, like, God, if I only would have just been buying those. But yeah, well, use the new Bitcoin ETF so you don't lose it. Well, that, and I've thought about that too, Steve, and maybe I'll do that. Just we'll see. It's still, I'm going to sleep on it for a while. I'm going to think about it, but it would be nice to have it at Schwab and not also have it at like something like a Coinbase. And last thing here, Duffy, funny NFTs. I do think they were dumb. I never bought any, but I did make one of Gary V, and I was bored during COVID times, and I forget the site I had it on, but I was playing around with it. I made an NFT, and I don't know, somehow somebody paid me like $80 for it. I don't know. It's so bad now. Now I feel like I ripped somebody off, but hey, joke's on me. Universe got me back because I sold my silver and then it absolutely went through the roof. So universe, we're even. And yeah, I don't know. But I do know one thing. Got the Bears starting in about 30 minutes. So we'll see what happens. I just hope it's a good game. It's going to be cold. But we're warm in our house. And hey, let's see what happens in the week. Short week. Markets close tomorrow. And if you come back, I'll be here next weekend to hang out with you, talk about whatever you want. So everybody, thank you so much for coming by, and I will see you. I'll see you next time. So long.